Ooh, this one is really heavy. Interesting one. It's a time for package from China. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the new Pandora's box. Yep, we're going to enter the Pandora jungle again. For the people I have no idea what this is, like the Pandora's boxes are coming in all kinds of form factors, like mini version, big version, Gemma editions, you name it, like there are a gazillion of these freaking things. And I call it the jungle because, oh boy, there are so many names now. Back in the day it was simple. We had the Pandora box and the Pandora key and that's it. But nowadays we're having like the 18S, 28S and oh, the numbers, it's a freaking nightmare. But these are like the official ones, or I think these are like the company that basically started the jungle of Pandora's boxes. And I must say, like, they putting a lot of effort in this. And I mean, like, they're going to give you like options, like game system options, like this one. There's a main board where you can plug in a controller. You can also like put it in arcade machine. You can put it in an arcade 1-up, for example. There are a lot of great things you can do with this. But it also comes with a very nice, high glossy manual with explanation how everything works, how you need to set it up. So for example, if you want to upgrade your existing Pandora's box, you can do that too. So in overall, I do like this really weird color. I think the camera picks it up, but this thing, I do like it. But the weird thing is with these Pandora's boxes, it makes no freaking sense. Let me explain what I mean with that. So basically thinking like, how bad is this? It's basically like the timeline of the freaking Terminator franchise. It makes no sense if you think about it. And it's the same with these Pandora's boxes. So let's do a quick recap about these things. So what are we going to get? So first of all, we're going to get here the Pandora box number 5. And there are like even later models. I don't own them and I don't want to own them because it makes no sense. Pandora box 5, 9 on 60 in one. Then we had the Pandora's box 6. This device was quite awesome. Had a lot of great new features. And yeah, the problem is with these things, like it's still freaking the same kind of main board with some minor revisions. Then we're going to get the CX and they're going to get the DX over there. And now we're going to get the Pandora's box EX. The nightmare never ends. But what are we actually going to get and what can we do with it? So this is just the family edition, I love to call it. You also have like the Gemma edition that you need to plug into an arcade machine. But this thing has some more possibilities. They also sell it like in game system so we can use it with a controller. So what are we going to get with the connections over here? We're going to get 2 USB ports, but again, still only one can be used for the controllers. Setting button, the volume rocker, they're also saying about the volume control. Audio jack out, the VGA, but take consideration not all models had support for the old school VGA monitors. HDMI out and the input for the power supply. Okay, so the family edition also have this IDA connection, and what you can do basically with this is plugging into an arcade machine. I did some tutorials about how to build it inside an arcade 1-up, and what I do like about these things, it's like super easy, plug and play. You don't need to do any reconfiguration. It's like easy peasy when it comes to modding this. But what are we going to get in the inside? That is quite easy. That's it, like this tiny PCB. It comes with the official Pandora's box logo over there. But the first thing I'm noticing, like what you're looking over there, like look at this, like revision 2019. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So basically like, this is like a freaking Terminator. It came from the past. It is now from the future. And we're like, nah, see, it makes no sense, you know? That is what I say, like these things are like freaking annoying. And when it comes to like Pandora's boxes, and you're looking at all the models that we have checked out here. So let's rip and tear another one. Let's see if we can open it up. That's always the question. So you can see like they're doing quite a lot of revisions to the cooling elements. Here we're going to get this blue with the DX. Then we're going to get more like a weird, very nice looking cooling element. But when you're looking at the later models or the older models, then we're going to get active cooling. And there we're going to get like with the cooling and stuff like that. There's such a weird, man. Such weird that they like trying to cheapskate and basically like finding different ways to cooling. And this is like more like a cost effective thing. I know for sure. Alright, so let's do a quick and wicked nerdy time, because let's take a close look at specs. So first of all, this thing is the type Pandora EX, they like to call it. CPU to AIM Logic S905X2, GPU Mali G31. The single outputs are 1080p, and that I think is an improvement. Then we're going to get 1GB of RAM, and the storage is a 64GB SD card. So it's not really fancy, it's like basic specs, and not also like a big step up when you're looking at the previous models. But let's say you want to buy yourself a kit, what are we going to get? We're going to get the main board or the game console. We're going to get yourself, like, take consideration, some sell like the okay quality PlayStation 2 controllers, wireless or wired and wire, and some I felt like really horrible chemical ones. Then we're going to get the HDMI cable, and of course we're going to get ourselves a power supply 12 volt. So basically this is what you're going to get in a kit itself, and yeah, that is all we need to do with it. But there are some positive things with the new Pandora EX. Okay, so we're having like the cheap controllers. We're having the less cheap controllers, or still like the fake ones, but they are like playing slightly better. Another thing that we can do is buying this other weird PlayStation 4 knockoff controller. They will be get recognized by an Xbox 360 controller, so these things are most of the time compatible with these Pandora's boxes. Not all of them, take that into consideration. And not to forget my favorite one. Oh, I'm having some troubles getting it. Oh, yep. Of course, the Xbox 360 controller, one of my favorite ones. That has a great support, and I also will use in this video for this Pandora's box. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that it changed out is the menu. In the menu, it's similar to the previous Pandora's boxes, but in my opinion, it looks more fancy now. And yeah, they did some tweaking there, so that's a positive thing. So let's take a close look at all the other functions. Okie dokie, so let's take a close look at the settings menu first. But the reason why is very simple. Let's take the system configuration and let's see if we're going to get some new options. So oh man, the quality optimization needs to be off. That's basically like this weird filter, and then we're going to get scan line. Like, I don't really like it, but there is no aspect ratio, so sadly there is nothing new over here. Game settings, here we can change out some settings for the games itself. But there is nothing much to see. We can turn off the boot sequence, stuff like that, set save and reboot, and let's take a close look at the menu itself. But also sadly, there is nothing really new here. So what you can see over here, that we're going to get this gigantic pile of a list. Press the start will bring you into the extra options. Here we're having search, then we're going to get the platforms all in this menu over here. And we also can see like what games you have played recently, but in overall there is nothing new over here, and yeah, I must say that I'm a little bit disappointed. I do like this fade in fade out stuff going on when it comes to the menu, and again, like I told you, this thing looks kind of fancier, but there is nothing really new over there. Like same stuff like when it comes to compatibility. I know like they did mention that there were an option for adding now N64 and stuff like that. So when you're looking at this, there are some upgrades, especially when it comes to 8-bit, 16-bit, like they want to mimic the Pandora game 3D that has all of these functions. You can even play PlayStation Portable, but with these low spec boards, don't expect miracles, because that's what you're going to get most of the time. You're going to get like all fancy options, but it will not run the games perfectly. But nevertheless, let's try some games and just show you what I mean. I just want to point out this option is existing with the CX and the DX2, but it still has the same issues when it comes to MAME games that we cannot save. So they didn't fix anything when it comes to the save functionality. Okay, so everything will be stretched to the maximum level. So the first positive thing I can say about this board, like the NES part, runs pretty damn good. Don't have weird sound issues whatsoever. Yeah, so far so good. But if you're wondering, can you play Killer Instinct? Yes and no. Yeah, you can play the Super NES or the 8-bit and 64-bit versions, but you cannot play the real arcade ones. So the game seems to be running just fine. Okay, so first let's try this. I'm just curious how this will run, because I do see that it has not the glitches that we've seen with other Pandora's boxes. The consideration N64 will always be a mixed performance with these cheap boxes, because they're not really powerful. I completely forgot how I freaking don't like this game. Okay, there you can see it, like it's giving these minor hiccups. But overall performance for a cheap board and low power device, it's not bad in my opinion. But we have reached the point that we can finally play some PlayStation 1. I did see a lot of problems with really cheap boards, especially when you're looking at the fake or the cheap Pandora's boxes. But with these devices we can play PlayStation 1 pretty damn good. It's still running on native resolution so far I can see. But the performance is quite good. Alright, so next up, PlayStation Portable, and I'm guessing they are running the PPSSPP emulator. I don't know what kind of settings they are using, I cannot see it in the back end, if they're using Frameskit or not, but in the end the performance and overall is not bad at all, but this basically like pushes this box to the limit. Alright, so next up let's play a Sega Dreamcast game, and yeah, I must say that I find that it runs quite surprisingly good, because you don't see all the weird glitching that we have seen before with, let's say, the Pandora game 3D. So I must say I'm a little bit flabbergasted about this. I don't know what are the super moves, but even it looks like it's got a very stable frame rate. So yeah. What I do like about these things, like I find it just impressive to see like how much stuff they can crank out of this tiny box. Alright, so let's do the arcade test. And by the way, this is the most demanding game you can basically play. That's the reason I mostly play this game, just to see how it is running. But you can see that it runs a little bit stuttery, a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. It's going to be like starter combat again, or not. Not really satisfied about the result here. It is possible they messed it up with the emulator. Ow, ow. Just on time. Alright guys, so this is what you're going to get with the Pandora Box AX. And overall the performance are similar to the DX, only they did some minor improvements. The layout looks more fancy now. We're still going to get all the same functionalities and the problems, like with the save function, no aspect ratio. Don't know why they don't fix that. But in the end, like when you look at performance, it's okay. It's got a good performance for basically what you're going to get when it comes to the power of the board. And then not to forget, yeah, it's more like having more emulators added to this edition. Yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think of this. Would you like choose this over in Pandora Game 3D? If you don't see my Pandora Game 3D video, check that one out. I personally really prefer that overall like very nice layout with different tabs and stuff like that. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.